All right, so Dale Weiss went on a podcast out in Winnipeg, Slinging the Biscuit, I think it's called. He ended up going on that, and he was talking about kind of just playing with different teams and things like that because he's played with a lot of teams throughout his career: Philly, Vancouver, Chicago, just to name a few, Montreal, and Weiss essentially kind of went on to say that when he went to Philly within weeks, I was like, man, no wonder this team hasn't won. He said you could just feel the difference. Two guys leading the charge. There were, Giroux, Voracek, and they were tremendous players, but guys that were not, in his opinion, really bringing the team together, really wanting to win. And then he mentioned later on that the Flyers are like still kind of there now, which to me is a totally different thing. Those two guys haven't been here since 2021, 22 ish. The entire management has changed. The entire era of the Flyers has changed. Different guys are leading the pack now, and Travis Konechny, Travis Sanheim, younger players like Matvei Michkov, Owen Tippett, right? I mean, you can mix in a couple other guys, Sean Couturier, obviously. Like, it's different now. So, that's wrong, right? That whole thing of the Flyers, well, they're still in that kind of thing now. You can't say that when those two guys aren't here anymore. The two guys that you pinpointed, that's just false. That's false information. The other stuff is maybe he's right. Maybe he isn't. If I'm being honest, I couldn't really care less. Dale Weiss played here and sucked. I mean, Dale Weiss literally, went from, a pretty decent scorer, a decent player in the NHL, 20 something points a year, played a good, had some pretty decent numbers in Montreal before he came to the Flyers. He only played 15 games then with the Blackhawks, and then he comes to Philly for 3 years. So 2016-17 season, 2017-18, and 18-19, he scored 15 points, 8 points, 11 points. The most I remember Dale Weiss doing is scoring a breakaway goal against the Arizona Coyotes. Like, Dale Weiss came here and was horrible and was supposed to come in and score and do all these different things and be like a pretty good depth guy and like a good leader and probably could have been a good, pretty solid bottom sixer. And like, he just wasn't. He was bad. He just was not a good player here. And it's one of those things where it's like, again, everyone's going to have their things about that era of the Flyers and those teams and all that, right? But my thing is this: if you genuinely watch those teams every night, which I did, you would be able to tell that those teams did not have enough depth guys. They did not have enough depth throughout the roster. They had great high-end talent. Claude Giroux, Jake Voracek, Wayne Simmons, Shane Gostisbehere, Mark Streit, the end of Kimmo Timonen. You could, go on and on down the list, right? The young Sean Couturier, who started the Blossom, and, Matt Reed, and all these guys that would kind of fill in. But, we're talking like this team literally had a mix of guys of like Roman Lubianov, Phil Varone, Yuri Laterra, like Dale Weiss is one, Ryan White, Chris Van Velde. I might have said him already, but Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Like, and again, I'm not trying to say that those guys aren't good players or whatnot, but like, you're not going to win a championship or have any championship level if you don't add anything like that. And of course, the blame is going to go on those two guys, right? I think part of this could be Weiss like played bad here and is probably just blaming it on other things that went on because that sometimes I think it's kind of thrown into it too, like with when you hear it with other players and stuff. Again, I was in the locker room, I was a kid, I'm not sure. But again, I don't really care what Weiss has to say because he didn't play well here. He's the only guy I've ever heard publicly talk shit on the Flyers and Giroux and Voracek, um, for starters. And then he also played bad. So like, it's hard for me to really take anything when he says like with any like grain of anything. You know what I mean? It's just not something I really care about, I guess.